History doesn't pause to comfort a man who makes the wrong choice. No one claps. No one saves him. Just a quiet fall that never stops. And by the time he sees the truth, he's already buried the best version of himself. Not because he was too weak, but because he opened the door to someone who was never meant to be there. And didn't notice she came carrying fire. Nobody teaches you this. Not your mom. Not your boys. And society? It makes profit off your silence, off your confusion. But Machiavelli? He saw through it. He knew great men rarely fall by accident. Most of them choose their own destruction, not because they wanted to lose, but because the choice looked too good to walk away from. See, the modern world sells men a dream. Love will save you. Loyalty is guaranteed. She'll ride with you through anything. But Machiavelli didn't deal in dreams. He gave men something else, something sharper, reality. Most men are fooled by what they see. She looks sweet, soft, maybe even perfect, but looks lie, and the untrained man believes every one of them. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you seem to be, but only a few ever learn who you really are. The average man trusts his eyes. The wise man, he looks deeper. He watches how she moves when no one's watching. He listens to how she speaks when there's nothing to gain. He studies her habits, not just her words. Because masks always slip when the spotlight fades. Let me give you a hard truth. There are only two kinds of women. Ones who build you and ones who break you. Not, she's figuring it out. Not, it's complicated. Not, she has potential. Either she adds to your life, or she quietly drains it. And here's the trap. Most destructive women are experts at pretending to be good for you. They smile while they ruin your focus. They praise your goals, then pull you away from them. And if you don't know who you are, you'll call it love. But this isn't about hate. It's about clarity. Because if you don't learn to see clearly, you'll keep bleeding and call it commitment. Machiavelli warned, the one who lies will always find someone willing to be lied to, and the man who chooses a woman for beauty alone, he's already surrendered. He just hasn't felt the damage yet. The real danger? It's not her. It's your failure to see clearly. Beauty confuses a man who hasn't built discipline. And in a world where men are trained to worship looks and ignore substance, it's no surprise most of them fall. They don't fall for the woman. They fall for the image, for the charm, for the mask. But Machiavelli didn't write for dreamers. He wrote for leaders, for men who protect their ground, even from feelings disguised as blessings. A woman set on destruction doesn't need to raise her voice. She just needs to shift your focus, make you explain your purpose, call your discipline too strict, label your values as controlling, and before you realize it, you've given up your throne in exchange for comfort. But a wise man, he doesn't get lost in her smile. He asks himself one question: can she walk beside my vision without trying to change it? That's the test. And sadly, most men never ask until it's far too late. Here's your next rule, and it's non-negotiable. Never choose a woman who rejects masculine leadership. It doesn't matter how sweet she talks when she wants something. It doesn't matter how amazing she looks in a dress. If she fights your direction, instead of following it with wisdom, you walk. If she sees your strength as a threat, instead of a shelter, she is not your woman. She is a storm disguised as sunlight. Machiavelli understood power. He knew if a man doesn't claim it, he becomes a servant to the very thing he thought he could control. You think you can handle her chaos. You think love will calm it. You think understanding will fix it. It won't, because once you choose her, you've already handed her the power, wrapped it in soft words, compromise, balance, partnership. But Machiavelli knew what most men forget. If you must choose, it is safer to be respected than loved. This isn't about cruelty. It's about clarity. A man who can't earn his woman's respect will never hold her loyalty, and she will test that, not to break you, but to see if you even have a spine. And if she finds nothing there, she'll stay long enough to hollow you out, then leave, whispering, "You changed." No, brother, you didn't change. You collapsed, and she watched it happen. You were taught to believe that being a man means being soft. That leading must feel like asking for permission. That real strength is compromise, especially with women. But Machiavelli warned, when power is watered down, it disappears. The moment you start negotiating your authority, you've already lost it. She may still smile at you. She may still stay near. But deep down, she knows you don't stand for anything. And when a woman senses your spine bends, just to keep her happy, she won't feel love. She'll feel boredom, maybe even contempt. Because no matter what the modern world tells you, a woman doesn't want to lead. She wants to feel safe in the presence of a man she can't shake. And that doesn't mean being harsh. It means being solid, clear in what you expect, firm in what you believe, unshakable in your values. Because if she can twist your path with tears, pull you down with seduction, or shout her way out of boundaries, you're not her man. You're her puppet, and sooner or later, she'll look for someone with a backbone, not because she hates you, but because she's wired to follow strength. You don't win loyalty by begging. You win it by being a man who can't be moved by games. That leads to your next law. Watch how she handles boredom. Any woman can be sweet when she's entertained, when the gifts are flowing, when your time and energy revolve around her. But what happens when excitement fades? What does she do when life goes quiet? A good woman brings peace. A shallow one stirs chaos, just to feel something. This is when you see her true nature, not during the highs, but in the silence. If she needs conflict to feel alive, she'll burn your future. The moment real life demands patience, focus, or self-control, you want a woman who can sit still, not one who sets fires because she's bored. And here's another lie the world tells you. Her past doesn't matter. That's not wisdom. That's a setup. Machiavelli would laugh. He knew a promise meant nothing without history to back it up. A woman who's betrayed others? She's not starting fresh with you. She's refining the process. If her past is full of chaos, what makes you think your story will be any different? Don't ignore the signs. Just because she looks innocent when she lies. Now hear this clearly. Never link your legacy to someone who laughs at your mission. You're a man with vision, or at least you should be. And a man with vision doesn't marry lust. He partners with purpose. If she mocks your ambition, rolls her eyes at your drive, or craves attention more than truth, she's not your teammate. She's your downfall in disguise. Some women crave chaos, not openly, not loudly, but deeply. When the spotlight fades, when life becomes routine, when gifts turn into goals, they grow restless. And restlessness in a woman isn't harmless. It's the quiet start of sabotage. She'll call it just being spontaneous. But what it really is a lack of discipline in disguise. Machiavelli would have called it what it is, a danger to any man on a mission. If you ignore it, she won't destroy you with fire. She'll do it slowly, with subtle doubt, with silent resentment, with cold withdrawal, right when you need focus the most. Now, let's talk about her past. Again, you've been told it's none of your business. That caring is insecure, but that's a lie designed to keep you blind. A woman who jumps from man to man doesn't crave depth. She craves novelty. A woman who's betrayed before isn't healing. She's rehearsing. You are not her savior, not her therapist, not her second chance. You are either a standard or the next chapter in her dysfunction. Watch her patterns, not her promises. Because the woman who laughs at your mission today will call your failure growth tomorrow. And here's a truth most men don't want to hear, but every man needs to obey. If she doesn't fear losing you, she'll never value you. If a woman believes you'll stay no matter what she says, what she withholds, how little she gives, she will stop respecting you. Why? Because what costs nothing means nothing. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are either to be caressed or crushed. There is no in-between." And whether you realize it or not, women live by that same rule. If she knows she can't lose you, she'll try to control you. If she knows she could lose you, she'll rise to meet your standard. This isn't manipulation, it's reality. The man who's willing to walk away is the man who holds all the power. And the man who trades that power for comfort, she may smile at him, but deep down, she will never trust him to lead. You got to stop rewarding disrespect with more attention. Stop chasing loyalty with desperate gifts. Stop folding your spine just to avoid being alone. Machiavelli didn't write for soft men. He wrote for rulers, for men who guard their worth, who test women before trusting them, who choose based on standards, not feelings. Which brings us to your next commandment. Choose a woman who makes your discipline stronger, not weaker. The wrong woman will laugh at your habits, mock your focus, and call your ambition too much. She'll do it with a smile. She'll say it's love, but it's betrayal. Because a real woman, a rare one, doesn't want you soft. She wants you sharp. A woman who doesn't fear losing you will never truly value what she has. She might say she loves you. She might even believe it. But without that edge, that tension, she will drift. She will get comfortable. Or worse, she will start to quietly resent you. That's why women test men. Not to be cruel, but to find something real. They want to feel, is this man solid? Can you hold the line when I push? And if you flinch, she knows. If you fold, she owns you. A man who can't walk away from a woman can never lead her. Machiavelli understood this centuries before modern psychology gave it a name. Respect isn't built on kindness alone. It's built on fear, not of pain, but of consequence. The consequence of losing you. And that fear keeps her grounded in reality, not fantasy. The world will tell you to open up, to soften, to be safe. But Machiavelli would tell you this. Sharpen your edge, because if a woman can stay in your life while disrespecting your values, you're not her king, you're a fool. And history, it's filled with fools. Men who loved too softly and lost everything because of it. Now, let me speak to the man who's already deep in it, the one hearing this and thinking, it's too late. I already chose wrong. No, it's not too late, but make no mistake. It will cost you. It may cost you your comfort, your image, your money, years you'll never get back. But ask yourself, what's more painful, leaving now or slowly dying over the next 20? Because here's the truth. The wrong woman will drain you, piece by piece. And when you're empty, she'll walk away anyway, not out of cruelty, but because nature has no sympathy for the man who refuses to lead himself. Machiavelli understood something simple. People respect what they fear losing. And if she doesn't fear losing you, it's because you trained her not to. That ends now. You weren't born to be her emotional cushion. You're not her background character. You weren't put here to fix what others broke. You're here to build, to lead, to rise. And what you build will either grow stronger because of her or burn to ash in her presence. Most men don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they confuse weakness with love. They call surrender patience. They call silence peace. They call self-betrayal devotion. But Machiavelli saw through that. He knew a prince who lacks wisdom can't be helped because he'll never listen to the truth. Here's a lie that keeps most men trapped. She'll change. No, she won't. She'll adapt just enough to keep you around, then slowly slip right back into the chaos that excites her. Because you were never a man she followed, just one she managed. You're not stuck. You're addicted. Addicted to the idea that this time she'll see your worth, that this next conversation will fix it, that your patience will buy you peace. But it won't, because once you choose the wrong woman, you enter a game designed for you to lose. Every time you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you lose authority. Every time you silence your truth, you lose respect. And the moment she feels you've built your life around her approval, she'll reshape you into something smaller. You'll start to vanish while she calls it love. Machiavelli didn't write for men who needed healing. He wrote for men who needed to reclaim the crown of their own mind. And that starts with a brutal step. Admit it, you surrendered, but don't stay there. Rise, not for revenge, but for rebirth, because the man you've been, he's the reason she stayed. And the man you must become, he's the reason she won't survive your future. Here's what no motivational speaker will tell you. No woman on this earth is your purpose. Not one. Your purpose is your mission, your craft, your discipline, your legacy. A woman can support that. She can grow beside it, but she can never replace it. Yet most men today, they flip the script. They make her the goal. They orbit her emotions. They wake up every morning chasing her approval. Then they wonder why she loses respect. It's simple. Because women don't trust men who orbit them. They trust men who orbit something greater. And that's why the same woman who disrespects one man will worship another, not because she changed, but because his frame did. Here's a brutal test. Never choose a woman who falls apart in your absence. You want to know who she really is? Step back. Disappear. Does she grow without you watching? Does she hold the line? Or does she break at the second your attention fades? Because if she can't stay solid when you're not looking, she will betray you when life tests you. Machiavelli taught rulers to fortify their cities, to protect the gates. You are no different. Your energy is your fortress. Your standards are your walls. Let the wrong woman in, and it won't feel like an attack. It'll feel like love. Right up until everything inside you starts to fall apart. Here's the part that stings. Most men who fall, they knew she wasn't the one. They just didn't have the strength to walk away. A man without purpose becomes a slave to his feelings, and eventually to hers. And the moment you put a woman at the center of your world, she will test if you were ever built to lead one. Not because she's cruel, but because she's wired to feel your fire. Not your need, not your weakness, not your fear of being alone. Your absence. That's the real test. Not to play games, but to reveal the truth. Does she stand tall without you near? Does she protect what you built? Or does she go hunting for validation the second you stop feeding her ego? Most men don't ask that question. Because deep down, they're afraid of the answer, so they stay loyal, not to the woman, but to the illusion. But your standards, they're not rules. They're not ultimatums. They're your defense against manipulation, against distraction, against decline. Machiavelli warned rulers, never let enemies through the gates. But modern men, they hand the keys to women they barely know, then cry betrayal. When everything they built burns down in silence, you're not just protecting your heart, you're protecting your future. Because the woman you choose, she's either helping you fortify your kingdom or laying the bricks for your collapse, while smiling in your arms. Let me tell you why most men ignore every red flag. It's not stupidity. It's belief. They believe they're the exception, that their love is special, that if they just wait long enough, she'll finally change. But she won't, because you're not her savior. You're not her father. You're not her second chance. You're just the next chapter in a pattern she refuses to break. And every minute you spend trying to fix her is a minute stolen from your future self. Machiavelli didn't mince words. The wise man does it once, what the fool does eventually. If you stay with the wrong woman out of fear, you're not loyal. You're just stalling your own destruction. And here's the truth most men never want to say out loud. You chose her, whether it was lust, loneliness, or low standards. You opened the door. You ignored the signs. You silenced your gut. And now you're paying for it. But the real pain only continues if you keep lying to yourself. Because no woman ever ruined a man's life. He did that himself when he let her in. And until you accept that, you'll keep repeating the cycle, blaming women, blaming culture, blaming luck, when the real enemy is your refusal to raise your standards. Your downfall didn't start when she betrayed you. It began when you refused to see her clearly. You romanticized dysfunction. You gave it excuses. You whispered, she's just different, while your soul was screaming, get out. But you stayed, not from strength, from fear, the fear of starting over, the fear of being alone, the fear of admitting. You gave your time, your energy, your loyalty to someone who never deserved it. Machiavelli would tell you the truth you've been avoiding. The man who lets himself be deceived is already halfway conquered. You didn't just choose her, you defended her. Even as she drained you, you covered for her disrespect. You made excuses. You told your friends, she's just struggling right now. But deep down, you knew, and now you're not just losing her, you're losing yourself. But here's the wake-up call. You don't need more signs. You need more self-respect. Every second you spend justifying her place in your life is a second stolen from the man you could become. She didn't ruin you. She revealed you, the part of you still addicted to chaos, to approval, to potential. That version of you, he has to die, because no queen will follow a man who kneels to his own delusions. Here's the law that either frees you or keeps you locked in suffering. You do not rise by getting lucky with women. You rise by being ruthless with your standards. The world won't clap for you. They'll mock you, call you cold, say you're toxic, controlling, harsh. Let them talk. Because a man who walks alone with peace is richer than the one surrounded by chaos, disguised as love. And if something inside you shifted today, if the words burn through your illusions, don't scroll past it. Because Machiavelli didn't write for boys looking for comfort. He wrote for men who are ready to rule. And a man ready to rule understands this. Every woman you let into your life will either sharpen your blade or dull your edge. There is no neutral woman. There is no harmless choice. She will either help build your kingdom or become the quiet enemy within its walls. So choose like a king, not a beggar. Test her, step back, and see who she becomes when no one's watching. Because any woman can act right when you're near. The real question is, Who is she when you're gone? If she lives by your values when no reward is attached, you might have something rare. But if she drifts the moment you stop chasing, she was never yours to begin with. So stand tall, lead clear, and never forget, the man who fears losing a woman is already owned by her. But the man who fears losing his purpose, he owns the world.